Daf Yomi, Tractate Bava, page 81b. Top of the page. But not from a place that faces the sun, where the fruits grow copiously, as it is stated, for the precious things of the fruits of the sun. Deuteronomy 33:14. The Braita further states, and the people of the city shall have the right to take supplies of water from a spring on private property, even from a spring that emerges for the first time. Rabba bar Rav Huna says, and although one may draw water from that spring, he must give money to reimburse the owner of the property. The Gemara concludes, but the halacha is not in accordance with his opinion, as the water may be taken without payment. The next of Joshua's conditions is, and that they shall have the right to fish in the Sea of Tiberias, provided that the fisherman does not build an underwater fence to catch fish, thereby causing an impediment to boats. The Gemara comments, but one may fish with nets and with traps. The sages taught in the Braita, initially the tribes stipulated with each other that one may not build an underwater fence to catch fish, thereby causing an impediment to boats, but one may fish with nets and with traps. The sages taught in the Braita the Sea of Tiberias was located in the portion of the tribe of Naphtali. Moreover, the tribe of Naphtali received an addition of a small stretch of land equal to the full length of the rope of a fish trap. This stretch of land was located to the south of the sea, where the members of this tribe could spread out their fishing nets. To fulfill that which is stated, and of Naphtali he said, O Naphtali, satisfied with favor and full with the blessing of the Lord, possess the sea and the south. Yam v'darom Yeresha. It is taught in a Braita, Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar says, detached items that are found in the mountains at the time of conquest are considered to be in the possession of all the tribes equally, as spoils of war, but that which is attached, like trees, are considered to be in the sole possession of that tribe that would receive the land where the tree was found. The Braita adds, and you do not have a single tribe of Israel, and you do not have a single tribe of Israel that did not have in its portion at least some land in the mountains, and some in the lowland, and some in the countryside, and some in the valley. As it is stated, turn and take your journey, and go to the hill country of the Amorites, and to all their neighbors in the Arabah, in the hill country, and in the lowland, in the countryside, and by the seashore. Deuteronomy 1:7. And you find similarly with regard to the Canaanites and Perizzites and Amorites who inhabited the land before the Jews. As it is stated in the above verse, the Amorites and to all their neighbors. Apparently the Amorites and their neighbors all had this variety of types of land in their respective territories. The Gemara discusses the next of Joshua's conditions. And the people shall have the right to relieve themselves outdoors behind a fence, even in a field that is full of saffron. Rabbi Acha bar Yaakov said, it goes without saying that one may relieve himself when necessary. The stipulation is necessary only to permit the one relieving himself to take a stone out of a wall in the field with which to clean himself. Rabbi Chizda said, and it is permitted to remove a stone from a wall for this purpose, even on Shabbat. Mar Zutra, the pious, would take a stone in this manner on Shabbat and replace it in the wall, and say to his attendant after Shabbat, "Go and plaster it over so that it would fit securely back in the wall." The Braita further states, "And they shall have the right to walk in permitted paths." In other words, those paths that cut through a private field throughout the summer until the second rainfall. When crops begin to sprout, Rav Papa said, and with regard to these fields that we have in Babylonia, even dew that settled the previous night is bad for them. Even after a night of dew, the field is sufficiently moist, and the trampling on it will cause damage, and therefore this condition does not apply if there was dew from the previous night. The next item on the list of conditions is that they shall have the right to veer off the sides of the roads onto private property because of hard protrusions of the road. The Gemara relates Shmuel and Rabbi Yehuda, who lived in Babylonia, were once walking along the road and Shmuel veered off to the sides of the road onto private property. Rabbi Yehuda said to them, "Do the conditions that Joshua stipulated apply even in Babylonia?" Shmuel said to him, "Indeed so, as I say that they apply even outside of Eretz Yisrael." Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi and Rabbi Chia were once walking along the road, and they veered off to the sides of the road. Rabbi Yehuda ben Kenosa was taking broad steps on the road to avoid the protrusions without going off to the side of the road. While walking in front of them, Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi says to Rabbi Chia, "Who is this man who is showing off his supposed greatness in our presence by acting more stringently than required by halakha? He is displaying insolence." Rabbi Chia said to Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi, "Perhaps it is my student Rabbi Yehuda ben Kenosa. And if so, all of his actions are undertaken for the sake of heaven. He is not acting out of haughtiness." When they reached him, Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi saw him and said to him, "If you were not Yehuda ben Kenosa, I would have cut off your legs with iron shears." In other words, what this means is that I would have excommunicated you for your impudence. Wow. The Braita further teaches, "And one who becomes lost among vineyards shall have the right to cut down branches and enter in an area of the vineyard, or cut down branches and exit into the area of the vineyard until he finds his way back to the road." The sages taught in a Braita that this stipulation extends further with regard to one who sees another person lost among the vineyards. He may cut down branches and enter an area of the vineyard, or cut down branches and enter and exit an area of the vineyard until he reaches him and brings him back up to the city or to the road. And similarly, if he himself is the one who is lost among the vineyards, he may cut down branches and enter an area of the vineyard, or cut down branches and exit an area of the vineyard until he comes back up to the city or to the road. The Gemara asks a question with regard to this Braita: what is the point of the clause that begins with "and similarly"? It is obvious that a lost individual himself has the same right to cut down branches as one who assists him to find his way out. The Gemara answers, "That is taught lest you say that it's only another person who is permitted to cut down branches, as having seen the lost party, he knows exactly where he is going to rescue the other and help him leave the vineyard, and that is why he may cut down branches. With regard to the lost person who does not know where he is going, one might have said that he may not cut down branches, but must go all the way back to the boundary of the vineyard. The Braita therefore teaches us that one who is lost may cut down branches in his quest to find his own way to the nearby town or road. The Gemara asks a further question. Why was it necessary for Joshua to stipulate that one may find his way out in this manner? After all, this halakha applies by Torah law. When one is lost, whoever can assist in helping him find his way to do so by Torah law must do so by Torah law, as it is taught in Braita. There is a mitzvah to return lost items to their owner. From where is it derived that the requirement applies even to returning his body, as helping a lost person find his way? The verse states, "And you shall restore it to him." Deuteronomy 22, verse 2, which can also be translated as, "And you shall restore himself to him." This is required by Torah law. Why did Joshua stipulate a condition to this effect? The Gemara answers, by Torah law, one is required only to walk in a roundabout path along the boundaries without damaging another's vines by cutting off branches. Joshua came and instituted the stipulation that one may even go even further and cut off branches and ascend, or cut off branches and descend, thereby leaving through the most direct route. The Gemara addresses the last stipulation of the Braita, and that a corpse with no one to bury it requires its place and is buried where it is found. The Gemara raises a contradiction from a Braita. One who finds a corpse laid down on the main street evacuates it for burial, either to the right of the street or to the left of the street, but it may not be buried under the main street itself. If one can move the corpse either to a fallow field or to a plowed field, he evacuates it to the fallow field. If a choice between a plowed field and a sown field, he evacuates it to the plowed field. If both fields are fallow, or if both were plowed, or if both were sown, he evacuates it to any side where he wishes to move it. According to this Braita, a met mitzvah is not necessarily buried where it is found. It may be moved elsewhere. Let's see which time we have here. Okay. I think I'm going to stop here for now, and we'll do part 2.